What is up, everyone? So today I have a Minimap. This is the Idogear. We're going to go over its features, its price point, and whether or not it's a good purchase. So let's get into this product review and see what it's all about. So the first thing you see here is it's a multicam Minimap, okay? And of course, multicam usually tends to cost you a little bit more than your traditional colors like Coyote and Ranger Green, those types of colors, okay? And typically when you buy something that's Chinese made or whatever, when you get it in like those tan colors or the Coyote brown colors, the tan looks off, okay? Same thing with your multicam. Typically it has like a pink in the browns and it just doesn't look right. But that's not the case with this Idogear stuff. As you can see right off the bat, I mean, the color looks pretty good in my opinion, especially at the price point you get this at, okay? So something like this is gonna run you around maybe $150 to $250 in those name brands, all right? But for people like you and I who just want it for airsoft or paintball, this is gonna come in at that $50 and below range for the price point. Let's talk about purpose here. The purpose of me purchasing this Idogear, it's kind of a funny name, you know, because it looks like it's spelled out Idogear and all one word. They created their own brand, which is pretty interesting. But the purpose of this Minimap and the reason why I purchased it was so I could fit a tank in it, okay? So as we all know, the carbon fiber tanks are very expensive. They're like $150 all the way up in price. Whereas something like this steel tank here, or the aluminum tank, this is gonna run you around that $39 to $59 range, okay? This one currently that I have here is a 48 cubic inch tank. 3,000 psi because it's aluminum, so all of your aluminum bottles will be that 3,000 psi. And the reason why I chose Ninja first of all is because it has a double O-ring, and for the same price as all the other brands, I mean, I might as well buy this one with the double O-ring, and it's branded by Ninja, USA made, okay? So first and foremost, that's the reason why I have this tank, all right? So I need a large enough shot count because I'm going to be running a remote line. For home defense option, I do have the carbon fiber tank that's coming in soon, but that's going to have a different regulator. So that regulator is going to be hopped up, so I get more PSI through my gun. And I did not want that intermixed with stuff I'm going to use for paintball for practice, okay? So that's that. Now let's go over the features here and how this pairs up nicely with this. That's why I brought this out. So I know I did a review on an A2 tactical Minimap, and that one was great at the time. This one has additional features for the same price. But one thing it lacks is the fact that you don't have backpack straps that tuck away. So it doesn't double as a backpack. It just doubles, or it just acts as your standard Minimap. So that could be a pro and a con for some people. Maybe you just don't want to run your plate carrier that day. The A2 Tactical allowed you to actually pop out the straps and wear it as a backpack in conjunction with something like your tank, okay? So that's something to consider when choosing your Minimap before deciding on one. Okay, so we'll start with the front and then work our way to the rear, okay? So first off, you have your compression straps here. One issue I don't like about compression straps is they're real floppy. So one of the things that you can do is put Velcro straps here. Just Velcro them to this, just like these. And then it will keep it up out of the way, at least for the top one. The bottom one you can't do that with, but just keep it up out of the way so it's not in your way, okay? That'll lead me into another thing that they integrated here if you don't like the compression straps, but we'll get to that when we get to the rear. All right, so you got these nice buckles These things unbuckle really easily. A lot of your cheaper brands, these buckles are really stiff and they don't release that great, or they're super soft and they'll pop off with just applying a little bit of pressure on them, okay? On the molly webbing here for the adjustment, you got this little latch here that basically holds your strap, so all the excess that you don't want flopping around, you got a little Velcro piece right here that holds it, and then also you could pull on it and it'll slide with your adjustment, so it keeps everything in place. Really well thought out. One of the things I don't like is the fact that it's not double-sided, but that's just me being nitpicky. All right, same thing with the bottom one. You have your slide adjustment, and then you also have on the opposite side, on the female buckle side, you have an adjustment here along with your slide, so you could adjust the compression strap, okay? Now for the main pocket right here, the small main pocket, you have a zipper that has a flap over it. Something I don't like is the flaps. I wish they turned the zipper inside out to keep it rain resistant, but in this instance they use a flap to cover the zipper so no rain goes in there. All right, it's not waterproof, it's just rain resistant or rain retardant, okay? The pocket, it tapers at an angle this way, all right? And what that allows you to do is keep this from being baggy and keep your stuff from just piling in there, okay? So by it being sucked up down here and angled, it keeps a real sleek profile, all right? And it makes it easier for you to get in there and grab your stuff, okay? If the pocket comes straight out like that, you have a tendency to overstuff it and you're, fumbling with all the stuff inside of there, all right? Your zipper pulls are tied off at the ends. They have heat shrink to loop them together, all right? So that's really nice because it creates grip when you zip your backpack shut. So as you can see, it's a sleek profile, okay? You have a big plate right here for putting your morale patches on or what have you. Maybe you want to stick another pocket type up here, you can, or maybe you have some Velcro stuff for like grenades and that type of stuff. You could stick or apply to this, okay? As you can see, this end is sewn shut, but this end's open, so you could actually slide a map in here for people behind you to access, so that's really nice. Or even just a pen, maybe some paperwork, what have you. You still got a pocket that's accessed from the side there. You can reach around and reach for that, okay? So for this front pocket as well, you have a rear pocket that's right behind it, and it does have Velcro. So the same Velcro square you have up here, you have down and back of that pocket, okay? And this is pretty neat too, because if you have a mag system that has Velcro on it or hook and loop, you could put it in there, hook and loop it to the back plate, and then your buddies could pull mags from there, or even grenades, or whatever sport you're playing, whether it's airsoft or paintball, you have that option to do the same there. You have 3 rows of molly down here at the bottom, okay? They're sewn really well. As you can see right here, they're really nicely sewn, whereas a lot of your cheaper stuff, some of them start fraying before you even get them. And then also your 1 inch is actually pretty close to 1 inch. So it's 1 inch or a little bit over 1 inch, which is okay with me. I'd rather have it being a little oversized than not sized correctly, because when you run that webbing through, it usually will hang up and you gotta fold it, and then that's just garbage, okay? Now for the zipper, the main zipper pocket, okay? You don't have any really large flap to cover your zipper up, so it's pretty minimalist. So as you can see, it's just like a 1/4 inch fold on both sides that kind of folds over, which is kind of weird why they would do such a big one on the front. Maybe just for aesthetics. Okay, and then this is the inside of the bag. Not too much going on there, but they do have this large area right here that has Velcro on it. So like I said, you could put your magazines. Maybe you have a Velcro magazine pack that could Velcro to that for extra magazines, maybe for a buddy system, maybe your grenades or what have you. You could stick it on there, or anything else that has Velcro that you need to cinch up to here so you don't lose it. And then right behind it, another pocket. All right, so I suspect that's where your hydration bladder will go. Okay, but in my case, I'm gonna see, as you can see, I'm gonna stick my tank in there. All right, so my tank's gonna go in here. And the reason why I don't want it to go in the main pocket here, like so, is because when I unzip this for the side, I don't want this to accidentally slide out and fall out, okay? So I'll be latching it up in the top pocket, like that. So then if I did reach around for maybe a dead rag or something to wipe sweat or paint away to clean, I have that option here, okay? So you could slide in there and then also get stuff that may be Velcroed to your bag as well. So that's the front. Now let's go over to the sides, okay? So the sides, you have access to the main pocket here on both sides, all right? And what that's gonna allow me to do is when I run my tank in there, I could route the tube right out the side at the bottom without having to unzip my backpack, so I could run it out the corner. For the side pockets here, the zips, you have what they have on the JPC. It's almost like a rubber type material here. And this allows it to have a little stretch, not too much. It's like a Buna material. And it just keeps your zipper from going all the way up in there. So it acts as a stop. It gives it some stretch and it keeps things from tearing and ripping over time after using it a lot. All right. And then also if you have a team setup, you know, you could have, actually there's Velcro in here, which I'll get to in a little bit, but you could actually have grenades or stuff that your team needs to access in through the side without you having to dig your hand all the way in through the top. So it's nice because you could access the bottom very easily. You could even stuff maybe a rag or whatever to wipe any paint or maybe sweat. So you can access that through the side really easily and put it up. Okay, so for the side, you do have 3 rows of 2 sections of MOLLE, or 3 sections of 2 rows of MOLLE, I should say. There's not much you could do with that. I think for the most part, it keeps the backpack a little bit more rigid and also keeps it from maybe tearing, which it shouldn't, but that's probably more so of what it would be used for. Or adding a knife or something, flashlight to the side, if you're trying to utilize both sides of that, okay? For the top, you do have this stretchable spandex material, okay, elastic material. And then right below it, you have a slot here that's cut into the Fedora. And what this allows you to do is run lines out of it, or even headphones, maybe a charging cable. So it allows you to do that, one on each side of the top, which is pretty nice. But one thing they failed to do is sew the slit that they cut. It will not rip because you have a stitch here and a stitch here that's keeping it from tearing all the way through. But that would be nice to see because I think this will start fraying over time. Now for the rear, okay? So as we were talking about the compression straps, on the rear side, if you didn't want those compression straps, as you can see, it's brand new. But if you didn't want those compression straps, you have these tabs right here that you apply pressure this way, cam them out of the way. So they're really hard to pull out, which is good because you don't want them popping off when you're compressing something down. But it pops off, and then you could slide it out of these loops. And there's your latch. So this latch here allows you to remove your compression straps in case you don't want them. Your latch looks like that, and that's what it looks like when they're taken off. The nice thing about this is you could stow these away in this front pocket, or you could just leave them off before you even enter the game, and it's optional, so that way you don't have stuff clinking around. But you also have the option, if you overpack this, to throw these back on and then really cinch it back down. So also on the back side, on the top piece here, you got a little buckle system here, and then you have one on the side here. It appears that you could add maybe a backpack strap or something to this if you didn't want to use it to multi-web directly to your plate carrier. But I mean, you're kind of limited to what you could do with it. Maybe because this doesn't have anything to weave. It just has one loop here where you could run something through. It appears that you would need something else like this to keep the strap from coming loose, or maybe even Velcro, like Velcro loop or something. If you makeshift your own backpack strap, you could use Velcro with some molly and create something like that, okay? You have this strap here that goes all the way along the length of the backpack, which has this plastic piece inserted into it to keep it stiff. And what this allows you to do is follow the molly webbing on your plate carrier, so that way you can weave it in and out, and then your plate carrier will be in between here, which allows us to cinch up to your plate carrier. And then also it's long enough right here to kind of fish it through really easily. And then you have this piece here, so this little fold here, so it doesn't get pulled back through, it kind of locks it into place. All right, so that's the back of it. It's pretty basic in terms of, you know, the layout, but they have little things like the removable straps that kind of make it a little bit better than anything else around that $50 range. Let's examine the stitching. The stitching, for the most part, is pretty consistent throughout this whole setup. It's really nicely placed. The only gripe like I said, I had was the Cordura here, or the Cordura and the strap here. So this Cordura matches well, the outside strap matches well, but the inside of the strap does not match with the Cordura, okay? That's my only gripe. You have a few stitches that are loose here, but nothing that will unravel. I mean, you just burn the ends off and keep it from fraying back. Everything's pretty much tightly placed into its respectable area. Okay, so for the verdict, all right? My only gripe with the webbing that they chose was the fact that it's not double-sided, okay? That's a minor issue, not too big of an issue for me. That's just something that is nitpicky, a little nitpicky. And then for the stitching, everything's pretty much consistent on your stitching, as you can see. All right, some places are even double stitched where they need to be double stitched because they're pockets. But one thing I noticed is on some of their stitches, they are fraying a little bit, and that might not be a good thing, but I think just by burning it, you should be able to keep that from unraveling. And then these are all single stitched. Your areas that you're pulling a lot on are box stitched really nicely. So I think this thing should last a fair amount of uses. I don't foresee it like unraveling and completely being thrashed. for a couple of seasons for sure, especially if all you're doing is putting stuff like this in it. It should last a long time. But if you're constantly in and out, I'm thinking over time maybe it'll start giving. But I mean, at that point, all your gear is gonna have wear and tear, right? So it depends on how harsh you are on your gear. But for the most part, I think for a mediocre player, like amateur to a little bit of a novice player, this will be good. For a professional player, I mean, you probably are going to invest in the expensive gear for the most part, because you want your stuff to be legit, right? So most of those players are not going to be worried about this product. They're going to buy the expensive stuff, okay? Because with everything comes with the warranty. You know, when you buy expensive gear, you get what you pay for. This being at a fraction of the price, I mean, can't really complain for what you get. It's a really good setup here for the most part, for the price range, and I'm pretty happy with it. So that's going to complete today's video on this Idogear Minimap. If this video was helpful for you, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see content like this and other content I'll be posting in the near future, consider subscribing. Until next time, I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.